Welcome to week 7. We are still in South Australia. This week we stay at beautiful Tumby Bay, another gorgeous beach town. On the way we stopped in Port Lincoln to stock up on some groceries, and we chucked in a history lesson for the kids about Matthew Flinders and his cat Trim. There are lots of little statues and signposts around the town with this explorer's history. When visiting Port Lincoln, have a walk around town and see how many plaques and statues that you can find. Yet, if you spot the animal, please comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe to our page. Thanks for following. This is week 7. Also, can you find the big chair in town? They also have a statue of a Melbourne Cup horse that won a race many moons ago. What's really cool about Port Lincoln is they have a fenced off swimming pool area with the ocean alongside the old jetty. Port Lincoln is located in South Australia. In 1802, Matthew Flinders sailed in, saw the harbour and said, "Yep, let's settle here." By 1839, settlers arrived, and for a moment Port Lincoln was the capital of South Australia. Today it's famous for world-class seafood, especially southern bluefin tuna. Matthew was probably happy because there was lots of fish to feed his cat Trim. So at the marina is the Port Lincoln Ocean Pool, which is known as the Town Jetty Pool. It is a man-made ocean pool built into the sea using floating pontoons and is filled with fresh seawater. Or you can just swim on the foreshore. It's nice and calm and the water is nice and clear. One thing that the boys have been doing is collecting cans, and we found a can depot where the boys could make some quick cash. Then it was off to the playground to climb our sillies out. We took a quick drive to Port Lincoln National Park, but didn't stay long as my car sickness was having a field day. As we drove from Coffin Bay to Tumby Bay, we spotted some silo art. We do like looking out for silo art. We got to Tumby Bay and set up our caravan for 3 days of relaxation. Does this really happen? Tumby Bay is another small beachside town off the Eyre Peninsula. The beaches at Tumby Bay are just absolutely spectacular. Once again, clear, calm beach waves and lovely blue sand. Not blue sand, people, white sand. So, as we know, Zach, in a few episodes ago, decided to redo his hair. So off we went for a haircut. This lady was the strangest lady ever, and I swear she was on something. Hubby and I were not at all comfortable with this lady, so we decided to stick by the children's sides, but having said that, she did do a great job of both their hairs. Hubby decided to wait for another town to get his hair done. One of the relaxing things that we did do was we went for a ride on these beautiful Clydesdale horses. The ride took us around town and gave us a history of the town. What a spectacular afternoon this was. This is a must-do if you come to Tumby Bay. Don't forget to look up, you might see something funny. Check out this little fella. Isn't he smashing? Tumby Bay is another little town founded by Matthew Flinders. In time, it has been a fishing village. It has a long jetty which was built to ship out grain from the Eyre Peninsula, turning the quiet little bay into a working town. The town is populated with lots of little quaint historic little buildings and an awesome cafe in the old bakery. Another relaxing thing to do in Tumby Bay is to go for a stroll through town or take a stroll through the mangrove walk. The mangrove walk is a wooden boardwalk through the wetlands. You can walk right above shallow tidal water. It is quiet and peaceful. You may be lucky to see small fish swimming below or crabs in the mud. There is lots of wildlife like pelicans and herons. It is very calm and peaceful out here. So of course there's nothing like a relaxing few days in Tumby Bay without throwing in a school art lesson. You can do this by taking another relaxing walk around town and spotting all the art murals that are on the various buildings. Murals. Murals? I don't even know how to say that. The artwork have different themes: giant sea creatures, coastal and fishing scenes, abstract and modern designs. There's a mix of ocean themes, wildlife and local culture. I must say, we were not expecting this in a small coastal fishing town that is surrounded by historic buildings. This was just way out there. Totally a surprise. Come down to Tumby Bay and check it out for yourselves. Mate, what a contrast from history to modern art. See what all this relaxation does to you? Next day we left Tumby Bay and headed towards Mount Remarkable. To get there we had to drive near the end of the Nullarbor, and we stopped at Augusta for some supplies before heading off to free camping. So after being blessed with powered sites and running water, it was now time for some free camping at Mount Remarkable. No power, no water. We love this type of camping out in the bush. It was nice to be away from the ocean and in amongst the trees once again. Mount Remarkable is located in South Australia. This national park is packed with rugged mountains, deep gorges and epic views. It is located near the town of Melrose. It marks the southern end of the Flinders Ranges, where rugged mountains meet open plains. It does have a gorge called Alligator Gorge, but we're in luck. There are no alligators. The creek bed is dry. There is not a drop of water out here. There is plenty to do out here. You can sit back and relax. You can go for a walk along the creek bed, and there is lots of different tracks and trails that you can explore. Such a lovely time out here with nature. Absolutely beautiful. If you're lucky, you could come across a kangaroo or two. If you're going to stay out here, make sure you bring your own water and supplies. The ground is quite hard, so make sure you bring some strong tent pegs and watch out for wildlife at night. We set up camp at Mambray Creek Campground, which is the main one. It's set among river red gum trees. It has an open bush setting with mountain views. It's quiet, it's natural, and it has lots of wildlife. You'll be lucky to see kangaroos, emus and birds. And you can be blessed with the most beautiful sunsets. Check out how stunning this is. Absolutely gorgeous. What a treat. Camping at Mount Remarkable winds up our Nullarbor Plain journey and staying on the Eyre Peninsula. So we are now making our way towards Adelaide. On the way to Adelaide, we decided to stay at Moonta, another seaside town, for a few days. This caravan park is fantastic. Not only is it on the ocean, but it also has its own water park. Moonta was established in 1861 when copper was found and the copper mining boom took off. Good thing we rang ahead because we scored the last campsite. It surely was busy. Yes, it's still summer school holidays and it is January. How cool is this mini water park? It sure was a popular place to be. Our boys loved being here. They spent a lot of time here. The caravan park is huge. It's on 2 levels. The bottom level is the foreshore, and up the top it's like a cliff top with less wind. The boys had a great time here, swimming in the ocean and playing in the water slide, riding their bikes and playing in the playground and hanging out with all the other kids. Once again, we were rewarded with spectacular sunsets. Check these ones out. Absolutely stunning. We have seen some amazing sunsets on this trip. We are so blessed. We did have a hidden agenda for also coming to Moonta. We decided to throw in some schoolwork on this trip and do the Moonta mine tour. We thought this would be an important stop so the boys could learn about mining in the early days in South Australia. After walking around the little town and visiting the old school classroom, it was time to board the train. So, Moonta is famous for the historic copper mining area from the 1800s. So that is historic copper in the 1800s. Back then the place was booming and earned the name Little Cornwall. So stay tuned because this is where the Cornish pasty comes into it. We will have one of those a little later. So, copper was discovered in 1861. It became one of Australia's richest mining towns. Thousands of miners worked here during the late 1800s through to the 1900s. There's not a lot of buildings left from the old days. There are a few ruins, a lot of tall chimneys, and the relics of different sections of the mining town. So, going back to why Moonta is famous for the introduction of the Cornish pasty to Australia. When copper was discovered in the 1800s, miners from Cornwall in England moved to Moonta. They brought their food with them, including the famous Cornish pasty. Why? Because the little bumpy bit on it is the handle for them to carry when it is hot, and because their hands were often dirty. They often ate around the little handle bit and discarded the handle bit into the bush. That is why the Cornish pasty has a thick, crimped edge. The mining tour was very informative about the history of copper and the history of the English migrating to Moonta, and also, as I've mentioned, the Cornish pasty. This is a great homeschooling, road schooling thing that you can do when visiting this little town. Thank you for watching us this week. Next week, we head towards Adelaide. Do we stop at other places on the way, or do we just make a beeline for the capital city? It's been a while since we've been in a capital city. Before we go, we do have a fun fact, so please keep an eye out for that. Please like and subscribe to this page, and please comment if you've spotted an animal or if you've tried a Cornish pasty. Every comment helps us on YouTube. Once again, thank you for being with us and joining us on our journey. It has been such a fun experience so far. We are nearly 2 months down with our 3rd month soon approaching. Please comment below if you've stayed at any of these places that we have. And do you fancy a water slide, or do you just fancy the natural bush? We are also on Instagram and Facebook. If you guys are travelling, safe travels and don't get lost. See you next week.